Welcome everybody to Dad's Gone Crypto. So picture this, Ryan. In February 2026, Bitcoin dropped from $126,000 down to around 65,000-ish, on 66,000-ish, somewhere around there. It was almost like a 47% correction. Your portfolio looks like it went through a snowstorm, and your chats went absolutely silent. Your uncle, who laughed at you in 2022, suddenly started texting you again. And yet, two of the most powerful voices in crypto are saying something very different. No panic, no doom, not this time it's over. They're saying the winter is going to be mild, and the spring, well, it's already loading.
Yeah, and that's what makes this cycle fascinating, because this isn't 2018, it's not 2022. This is the fifth major Bitcoin drawdown in the last 5 years, and yet the infrastructure underneath feels completely different. The banking rails are stronger, institutions are not fleeing, they're building, and DeFi, it's quietly generating real revenue. So today, we're not predicting prices, we're not calling bottoms, we're doing what crypto dads do best. We're going to step back, zoom out, and keep asking, is this really a winter or is it planting season?
Michael Saylor went on Fox Business News this week and said something bold. We are in a crypto winter right now, but the winter will be much milder and shorter than in past years. And that spring will come. So you got to also understand, when Michael Saylor speaks, people listen, because his company owns about 717,000 Bitcoins. Let that sink in. It's roughly about $54 billion worth of acquired, average dollar cost averaging in, around about 76,000. Yes, today it's underwater a little bit. It's, the crypto price is around about the $66,000 mark. But if I remember correctly, in one of his podcasts or one of his quotes, he says that his company can go down, or his company's portfolio can go down to $9,000 price of Bitcoin. So he's got a very big strategy happening there. But the reason why he says this time it's different, they've raised over 55 billion, mostly through equity, not high risk leverage like traditional finance. He calls it the fortress balance sheet. That's a completely different survival model compared to previous cycles.
Yeah, and what stands out most to me about this, MicroStrategy didn't slow down. Last week alone, they bought another 2,486 Bitcoin for roughly $168 million. That was their 99th purchase. Most companies freeze in winter. Strategy is stacking. That tells you something about conviction. And Saylor isn't just relying on price appreciation anymore. He's introducing something new.
The STRC Bitcoin-backed digital credit instrument, paying about 11% dividend, basically over-collateralized with BTC. The idea, turn Bitcoin into productive digital capital. And it's not just a hold and hope scenario, it's a hold and healed. That's the shift.
And he's pointing to tailwinds we simply didn't have before. Stronger traditional banking rails, expanding digital credit networks, a US administration openly supportive of digital assets. Now, whether you love politics or ignore it, regulatory tone absolutely impacts capital flow, and capital flow determines cycle strength.
So the question becomes, if Bitcoin is basically digital capital and institutions are building fortress models around it, are we watching Bitcoin mature from a speculative asset into a financial bedrock, or are we just dressing up volatility, with better marketing?
While Bitcoin plays digital gold, Matt Hogan from Bitwise dropped something equally powerful. His thesis, DeFi could lead the recovery. Not meme coins, not hype tokens, DeFi protocols generating actual revenue.
And Uniswap frequently outpaces Coinbase in trading volume. Aave generating over about $100 million annualized revenue. Total DeFi TVL hovering around 130 to 140 billion in 2026. These aren't experiments anymore. These are digital financial platforms. But here's the twist. For years, DeFi tokens were governance only. Why? Because of security laws. The Howey test scared projects away from basically the revenue rights. Now, just before we get going, based on Google, a Howey test is a US Supreme Court established basically a legal standard used to determine if transactions qualify as an investment contract and thus a security subject to SEC regulation. It requires four elements: basically investment of money in a common enterprise with reasonable expectations of profits derived from the efforts of others. So projects been on a little bit of a pause because of that Howey test. So token holders basically voted, but they didn't earn anything. But that might be changing.
Yeah, that definitely may be changing because Aave is trying to pass the Aave will win framework within their ecosystem. If passed, 100% of revenue from all Aave branded products flows to the DAO treasury. Interface fees, swap fees, institutional services, future exchange traded products, revenue alignment. So token holders potentially benefit like shareholders, but within decentralized governance. Now that's a huge structural shift.
And Wall Street is already leaning in. BlackRock's tokenized fund is tradable on Uniswap. Apollo is partnering with Morpho, potentially acquiring up to 9% of its supply over time. This isn't just retail hype, this is institutional integration. So maybe the story of 2026 isn't Bitcoin versus DeFi. Maybe it's Bitcoin as a reserve asset, DeFi as a productive layer, digital gold above, and digital Wall Street below. So, Ryan, quick question. Do you personally believe Bitcoin remains the dominant long term play, or could DeFi revenue sharing outperform the cycle? What are your thoughts?
When you say long term, I mean, yeah, Bitcoin, in my opinion, Bitcoin is the absolute greatest long term asset that's ever been created in the world. And I think over the long term, Bitcoin is absolute king. Now, just like with any cycle, there's always going to be narratives that outperform Bitcoin over the short term, though, right? So, I mean, DeFi, sometimes it's meme coins, so it could be gaming, could be AI. There's always going to be those narratives that blow Bitcoin out of the water for the short term, but long term, I completely believe in Bitcoin. I don't think anything beats it long term. What are you
Yeah,
thinking?
I think I fully agree on that because you know what you're getting. Bitcoin is a digital gold asset class. So you're putting your money in there, you're getting some yield. You know what it is. It's been tried and tested over, I think, now a decade or so. So you kind of know with DeFi, it's ever evolving, ever changing. New things are popping up left, right, and center. So the risks are very high. Yes, the rewards can be, but there are millions of different DeFi projects, and not all, are decent projects. So it's to find those gems, and to invest in projects that you think they can really change the world. But yeah, it's Bitcoin's definitely long and DeFi short.
Right. And I mean, who knows? I mean, with real regulatory clarity, DeFi may become a very long-term thing, right? And we might see some of these projects like Aave, they might last forever for all we know. I mean, I have absolutely no idea. But at the same time, I still think, Bitcoin is the long-term king. And I think we're all going to agree on that.
Definitely.
Though, what I really love about the space right now is that it's really, really maturing, right? I mean, we can have these conversations about, long-term Bitcoin obviously has been the conversation forever, but now we're having conversations about long-term DeFi, long-term some of these other narratives that you really couldn't have without structure and without regulatory action, I guess. Do I miss the wild, wild west of the early days? I absolutely do. But at the same time, if we want the space to grow and we want it to become mainstream, this is what we're looking at, right?
No, I fully agree. And yes, it's not about the hype, and it's not about the latest greatest chasing tail. Because you heard something in the locker room that this is going to be a 100x coin. It's about the market is maturing, and projects are getting more advanced, and people are trying to find their feel for the crypto space. decentralized finance is yet to stay. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to change traditional poor systems. So the minute we start to move into that space where you can make good change, then you can back those projects. So guys, if you've been enjoying these deep dives into Bitcoin strategies, DeFi tokenomics, institutional adoptions, and where crypto markets are evolving, you're exactly who this growing crypto dad community is for. The builders, the thinkers, the long-term players. And I just want to say this, March is shaping up to be a very, very interesting month. And especially for our community, something big is coming, and we've been quietly working on. We will release some more information over the next couple of weeks. So if you want to be the first to know, make sure you subscribe, put that notification on, join our Telegram, become part of the ecosystem. You are not going to want to miss this opportunity. And it's a community-based play. And that's what we're going to say.
Absolutely. So, guys, here's the takeaway from this episode. Crypto winter in 2026 may feel very cold, but beneath the surface, Bitcoin is being institutionalized. DeFi is monetizing. Revenue alignment is evolving, and Wall Street is experimenting on chain. That's not collapse energy, that's transition energy.
The real question isn't when will spring come? It's what are you planting during winter? The Bitcoin conviction, DeFi research, or just patience? Drop your thoughts below, and always stay rational, stay curious, and keep building.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.
The material and information presented in this recording are for entertainment purposes only. Do not misconstrue what you hear as investment or trading advice. Always do your own research. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the guests on this recording are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Dad's Gone Crypto or its hosts.